Tonight's story is called So You're Undead, written by a deleted user on r/nosleep. Hello, and welcome. Since you've received this pamphlet, there is a high probability that you are dead. While this may come as a nasty shock at first, we are dedicated to helping you acclimatize to your new undead state. After all, we've all been there. We hope this introduction pamphlet can answer some of your initial questions, and we promise we will be with you every step of the way. So let's get started. Question 1. Why did this happen to me? Sadly, we're not entirely sure why this happens to some people and not others. Unfortunately, the science in that area is lacking due to the lack of willing test subjects. However, from shared experience, we can give you some idea of how you ended up this way. Most likely, you have had a hand in your own death. Whether by suicide, drug overdose, or some other dumb stunt, we know the likelihood of you returning as undead rises from unnatural, self-inflicted causes. The good news is that now your death is over and done with, and you come back to us forever! Question 2. What does this mean for me? Obviously, this event will change your life, or unlife, forever. You've probably noticed that some time has passed since you died. It's normal for the process of undying to take a while depending on the damage you sustained. Don't worry, most of yourself will regenerate back to normal as long as you keep yourself healthy and well fed. If you're reading this from your casket, then we're sorry we didn't get to you in time to intervene. Sometimes a family member or a landlord will find the transitioning undead before we do, which usually results in an unfortunate burial. But don't worry, we work with a mortician to make sure potential undead have their pamphlet in their caskets. Soon enough, our grave robbers will take time out of their busy schedule to also dig you up. We know. Grave robbing is a nasty business, but we need to eat too. Until then, just lie back and relax. Remember, at least you weren't cremated. Question 3. What lifestyle changes will I need to make? The good news is that you can retain most of your normal life from before you were undead. Though family and coworkers may take it rough, we have some handy coming out packets that can help you along the way. You will need to make changes in your diet, of course. While you can still eat normal food without causing major harm to your body, your digestive tract won't thank you, however. We recommend a steady diet of fresh organ meat. Despite what you've seen in movies, it doesn't have to be from humans, nor does it have to be from the brain. Our team of grave robbers will helpfully supply you with a month's worth of meat for free to help you while you get back on your feet. Question 4. Am I invincible or immortal? No and yes, we're afraid. You can decay and take injury just like any other unliving thing. Too much injury and you may go into a coma-like state we call stasis. You may wake up from it eventually, or not at all. While we say, wake up, you still will mainly be conscious for the entire thing, just unable to move, speak, or do much of anything. The good news is that you'll have plenty of time to plan out the rest of your unlife if you wake back up. To stop decay, it is important to continue basic hygiene practices as well as eat a balanced diet of organ meat. Undead or not, your body is your temple after all. Exercise is also good, but be wary of overly vigorous exercises. Your muscles and joints may not move the same as they did, and nobody likes an inverted knee. Now you're probably wondering, where do I go from here? The answer is anywhere you'd like. The sky's the limit. However, we don't recommend flying. The changing air pressure can do some funny things to the undead body. Be warned that not everybody is so accepting of the undead, but that you'll always be accepted by your local undead community, and we're dedicated in making these attitudes change in the near future, one way or another. There are many more of us than there are of them, after all. But you don't need to worry about that yet. Enjoy your new unlife. We look forward to more interaction with you. Your local undead community. I don't know why. I really just felt the need to read that like an infomercial pamphlet thing. I was flipping through the undead portion of No Sleep. Sometimes I'll just type in zombies. I recently tried undead and found a whole other slew of stories, and this one was one that just popped up. It was I thought it was pretty silly, the idea of getting a pamphlet after you're turned into a zombie. And the idea that you're completely normal, you just now need to eat living flesh, or partially almost living flesh. I thought the creativity of this was so good. I've never seen anything like this before. Maybe there is more stuff out there like this, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. I've got one more story to share with you, and it's really short. That's why I ended up adding it along with this one. But it is called "I Think I'm Undead. Help?" Written by Sort of Haunted on r/nosleep. I've been eating a lot of raw meat lately. It started out as a sushi craving, but then I ended up gnawing on raw steaks while sitting on my couch watching Netflix. I mean, maybe I needed the protein. I guess it started when I woke up in the morgue, so maybe it's trauma of some sort. Of course, there's nothing more horrifying than waking up in a metal drawer, realizing where you are, and immediately launching into the panic attack of a lifetime. Thankfully, the morgue attendant opened the drawer with wide eyes, babbling about how sorry he was or some shit. I'm thinking about suing the hospital, but hey, we only get one life, I think. The weirdest part was seeing my death certificate. There's my name, Tabris. Yeah, weird name I know, but what can I say? My mom liked angels. And it freaked me the hell out. Apparently, I had been found dead in an alley. Until, of course, I woke up in the morgue. The doctors had no way of explaining it, because they didn't want to admit they fucked up and declared a living person dead. They wanted to run a bunch of tests on me. Fuck that. I'm not their guinea pig. I hate needles anyway. I couldn't focus at work anymore, and the whole eating raw meat thing started to freak some people out. Also, being deathly pale doesn't help. Also, my blood pressure is incredibly low, so I'm crazy lethargic. I quit, deciding to do some freelance writing and consulting. The nightmares didn't help. I kept dreaming I was waking up in this insanely creepy operating room, complete with surgeon with a bloody gown. The dream always ends with him leaning over and putting a mask over my mouth. Police scanners aren't actually that difficult to set up. I did it mostly out of a boredom, figuring I might as well do something with my time. I liked listening to them, hearing about all the various crimes going on in the area. One night, around 2 a.m., I pretty much stopped sleeping too, I heard something particularly interesting. "Immediate response needed to shots fired on 13th Street. Dispatch crackled. I scooched closer to my scanner, interested. 13th Street wasn't far from here. "We'll be right there," a cop responded. A few minutes later, he was requesting backup. "We got a dead body. Need a bus." The officer's voice crackled over the radio. I sighed. I never liked hearing that. I hated the idea of anyone ending up in that hell morgue I woke up in. "Officer down. Repeat, officer down. Suspect fleeing on foot," he said, shouting the radio. "Suspect is a white male in his 50s, armed and dangerous. He just shot my fucking partner." I sat up suddenly. For the first time in months, I knew what I had to do. I pulled on a black hoodie, I left my apartment, locking the door. I went downstairs and out on the sidewalk, listening to the increasing sounds of sirens. The weird thing about me now, post-mortem, is I have an incredible sense of smell. Gunpowder has a very distinct smell, like firecrackers, and I could smell it the second I stepped onto the street. I turned to my left, the opposite direction of the sirens, and the scent got stronger. I sprinted down the street. Another advantage of my new condition. I'm incredibly fast, and don't get tired. Makes going to the gym a lot more fun. But this wasn't the gym. I was on the tail of a stone-cold killer. So I guess the gym, but more escape room style. But also, real life. Next thing I knew, I saw a shadowy figure duck into one of the many backyards of the houses around here. Deadly silent, I followed. I walked up behind him. He was trying to jimmy open the back door of the house when I grabbed him. "Hey!" he shouted, struggling against my grip. I slammed into the side of the house. Well, what have we here?" I said, feeling an evil smile creep across my face. He was a gross-looking dude, with weak old stubble and an unpleasant smell. He was nowhere near being strong enough to fight me off. "What the hell, bitch? Let me go!" he shouted at me, spitting in my face. Now see, I don't like murderers, specifically men. They have this tendency to kill people who did nothing to them, and to call women bitches when they really fucking shouldn't. I crushed his windpipe, then his spine. He died instantly. Honestly, I always hated those articles about ethical cannibalism or some shit. I read one about a guy who made tacos out of his severed foot. I never wanted to eat human flesh, mostly because of Wendigo concerns. So believe me when I say I couldn't control myself. I ripped him apart, chopping as I went. I even ate his brain, cracking his skull open like an egg. Guess that makes me a zombie? I cleaned up best I could. I felt bad for eating this guy in the backyard of some perfectly nice family. I dragged what was left of him into the streets for the cop to find. I even called an anonymous tip. Then I walked home to do some laundry. The next day, the paper ran a story about it. The cops were baffled as to how they could be chasing this guy one second, only to find him ripped to pieces down the street the next. Apparently, the man's name was Stan, and had murdered his wife after abusing her for 2 decades. Honestly, the only thing I felt bad about was not killing him sooner. Maybe I make a habit of this. I kind of love the idea of like a Dexter zombie. Both these stories have been super weird like that. They're like a fun take on this zombie thing. You know, the first one's weird with the whole pamphlet for the undead. There's like a whole system set up for people that are going to become undead. There's kind of like like an undertone of, hey, we're going to rise up and actually take out all the living people. At least that's what I got out of it. And then this one with like the weird zombie vigilante. I don't know. I liked both these stories quite a bit. I like when zombie stories take themselves seriously, but I also really like it when zombie stories are goofy as well. You know, like Z Nation's a good example of that. It follows all the zombie tropes, but it's goofy. It's fun. Like I like fun when it comes to zombies. It's okay to take yourself seriously sometimes, but not all the time. But I hope you guys enjoy the stories. Come back next time for some more zombies or some other monster creature thing. And as always, remember to face your fears.